Sorry that I am a few minutes late. I'll give you guys a chance to trickle in here. And we are going to be going over the NBA slate for this evening. Last night was not a good night DFS-wise, but the live sweat was, I thought, pretty fun, pretty interesting. And hopefully do a little bit better today. We're going to go through the sheets where we're going to go through the top plays. We're going to go through game by game, and then we're going to end it with a lineup build. I don't think I'm going to play FanDuel today, so I'm just going to focus in on the DraftKings. So let's share my screen. And the first thing I'd like to do is take a look at the way the slate lays out. So you have 2 7 o'clocks, 2 7:30s, and 2 8s, and then a 9. All right, nice and easy. Nice and easy pickings. We don't have this 10:30 game we have to worry about. Now I also see, just without even looking at the sheets yet, there's a bunch of questionable tags that we have to deal with. So Luka here, probable, so not a big deal. Giannis, probable, so not a big deal. Brunson, officially questionable, but avoided a serious ankle injury. But I do believe that it's likely he's out today. Well, we'll see. We'll just see about that. If he's out, then obviously stuff's going to show up. Damian Lillard, questionable. Played through the ankle sprain on Sunday, but he didn't play Tuesday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Kyrie Irving, probable. Tyrese Halliburton, questionable. So he's going to be playing, I believe. He got increased to 30 minutes, which is good news. And he's also relatively cheap. So we'll get into that. Julius Randle remains out. So I think we're going to go do the usual thing that we do, and that would be to bet on Josh Hart over rebounds, especially if OG Anunoby remains out, which he will. So that's the first thing that I'm going to recommend. I think we're 4 for 4, or at least 3 for 3, I forget. But with Josh Hart over on the rebounds, if it's going to be, I don't even care what it's going to be. It's probably going to be like 8.5, I guess. Actually, let's take a look at that. Before we even get into the slate, let's take a look at the props for Josh Hart. Okay, Mavericks, Josh Hart. Wow, they don't even have a Josh Hart rebounding prop. What are they afraid? What are they scared? Wow, look at that. Maybe it'll show up a little bit later. That's a little tilting. Let's get this back up here. So we'll do it for Bobby. I guess we'll go game by game, I suppose. So I'll pull up the sheets first. So Golden State against Indianapolis or Indiana. I mean, I'll just show you what I'm looking at. I'll make it nice and easier. I mean, these are my sheets listed by point per dollar, and I just don't see anything with Golden State, Indiana. Right? There's just nobody here. So it looks as though it's probably a pass. Let's rate my sheets value score, maybe. And Curry 9,500 rated that way, but that's not good enough. Let me just see. Does Halliburton get a projection yet? I guess not yet, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. I am torn whether I want to do the MMA breakdown until I have the salaries. There are 2 fights that we still don't have salaries for, I believe. So I'm inclined to wait, but I might not. I have to see what my schedule looks like. I mean, I pretty much know what the salaries are going to be anyway, but we'll see. So it looks as though this game is probably a pass. Golden State, Indiana, we don't really need that. All right. San Antonio against Orlando. Well, you got Wembanyama on a back-to-back. Certainly looks like a strong play. I don't think they would sit him. Wendell Carter Jr. looks like the good play here. So Wendell Carter Jr. 5,300 and Banchero at 82 with Wembanyama and Franz Wagner. So these Orlando guys look to be pretty strong. So if you wanted to play something like, well, that's asking for it. You know, Wembanyama on a back-to-back. He did play only 28 minutes last night. I don't know how much more than that he's going to get. And it is a tough matchup. We could get 50, but that's probably it, you know? So I'm probably going to end up passing, even though he's looking like a pretty decent play on the numbers. So Wendell Carter Jr., Banchero, and who else did I say? Fultz. And then, Suggs too. So all these guys actually are in really good spots. So maybe you're supposed to just play Wembanyama just as a run back, but I don't think you need to do that. It'd be nice to play one San Antonio guy at least, but I don't know. I'm still not convinced that that's. Did Curry really have a good night? Or do you have a bad night? I hope he had a bad night. Because, let's see what he did. Oh, good. Thank God. I was going to play him in the big buy-in. Okay, moving on. Cleveland against Brooklyn. You have Karis LeVert going back to Brooklyn, if that means anything. I'm inclined to think it does not. You have really nothing from Cleveland showing up here. Very little from Brooklyn showing up here. Looks as though it's kind of a pass. Maybe Donovan Mitchell, but pretty much not for me. All right, Dallas, New York. I mean, you have Luka, who's just, he's just amazing. Now, in fairness, I mean, the Knicks have been, I think, top defensive team as far as defensive rating and pace and all that. So, not the best matchup, but I think he has proven himself somewhat matchup proof. But I don't know. Maybe this is the night where you play, especially if you get say Dame out for Milwaukee. Maybe you play Giannis over Luka. I think that's fair. Now, the real key is going to be this Jalen Brunson business, right? You know, Jalen Brunson sprained his ankle. I mean, if he's out, then you got all this stuff, you know? Boy, oh boy. I mean, what do you even do? You have Quentin Grimes out, Evan Fournier out. I mean, what are we going to do? Miles McBride, right? Miles McBride. What about they signed? I mean, is D. Washington? Is he in play? Having played not a minute the whole season? I doubt it. Boy, this is nuts, huh? If they actually sit Brunson, who is going to bring the ball up? I mean, you're going to have another 40 minutes out of DiVincenzo. And McBride's like forced into 35 minutes, isn't he? I mean, how else do you do it? Josh Hart's going to get a billion. You know what I mean? Like, this is if Brunson's in fact out, this is crazy. And you still have Randall and Achua out. So Precious, even at 6,400, might be a decent play if Brunson's out. Hartenstein, too. So, boy, oh, boy. This is definitely news that we're going to have to monitor. Let me see. Anybody else in Dallas? Not really. So, watch the Knicks news. I think McBride's probably a good play anyway. you want to know the truth? As is probably DiVincenzo and Hart, even at those prices. So if Brunson is in fact out, I mean, there's going to be obviously a lot of blowout risk involved, but hell, McBride is just going to have to, he's going to have to play 35 minutes, isn't he? I mean, there's nobody else. There's no other guard except for McBride and DiVincenzo. Maybe you get Point Hart. Can Charlie Brown get some minutes tonight? I don't know, but I think everything's up. Nothing's off the table here. Chicago, Memphis. All right, so interestingly, I do see two guys that are showing up. Actually, three, and that looks to be both in the mid-range. We're going to have both Jaren Jackson Jr. He himself is questionable, by the way, and he's missed 2 in a row. Trey Jamison, is he going to be back in play? Greg Jackson? Well, once again, I have to wait and see. On the other side of this, Chicago, 2 main guys, Vooch, DeRozan, and Kobe White. I think they're all in play. So this could be an interesting stack that I don't think anybody's going to play. Kobe White himself, by the way, is questionable. Oh, he's probable. So you have Kobe White, Vooch, and DeRozan, and then you want to play Jaren Jackson Jr. in this build. I don't think anybody's going to do this. It's going to be probably a very, very unique thing to stack those games. Yeah, Jollies, you're saying Golden State, Indiana's got the highest points total, but everybody's healthy, right? So, and then Minnesota, Milwaukee. I alluded to this before. You know, Minnesota definitely has good defense, probably the best in the league, but still get Giannis at lower ownership than Luka. Again, I have no problem with that, especially if Dame is out again. I am getting a good projection also for Mike Conley, by the way, on the Minnesota side. And listen, he's not a guy that usually gets you all excited or whatever, but he puts up games once in a while, like this one, the one game. Yeah, maybe this is a bad idea. But I do think that even though Minnesota has good defense, I think that Giannis is a good pivot off of Luka. And then the last game on the board, Utah and Phoenix. This is where you're getting the chalky value play that at least it's showing up right now, and that would be Keontae George and Chris Dunn. I'm presuming that Sexton is out, which is why this is happening. No. Okay, so what gives? Just because I guess they play minutes. Let's see what is Dunn done. What is Dunn done? Very good. This looks like a bad play, doesn't it? I mean, he happened to play 26 minutes in the last game, and he did have 33 fantasy points. That's great, but all these other ones stink. This has got to be bad chalk. And what about Keontae George here? He's got 25 minutes. All right, see, he's a better play. I mean, he's going to have the ball in his hands. So I don't expect to get 10 rebounds. He's got a ceiling, though, 25, maybe 30 points. You know? Olynyk got traded. Oh, you were saying that Dunn at 3 blocks and 4 steals. Yeah, I have to imagine 3 blocks and 4 steals is an outlier. So yeah, if he ends up chalky, I think I'll probably be off of that. And I guess with Olynyk traded, I mean, I guess Collins and Markkanen maybe a little bit better, but they're pretty fairly priced. I will say this. I mean, Walker Kessler at 4,600. I mean, if you give me a two-handle in front of his minutes, you know what? I don't get the correlation though between why Keontae George will smash because Kelly Olynyk and Agbaji round. I mean, I think he's fine, certainly better than Dunn. But for these guys being gone, I think Walker Kessler is the one that's going to benefit the most, and obviously John Collins as well. So if you give me 30 minutes plus out of John Collins now, and the possibility of 30 out of Kessler, I think that's got to be like an amazing play. No, I mean he's not showing up in projections now. I guess it's because they didn't factor in the Olynyk being out, but this looks like it sort of looks like a lock almost, right? I mean, who else is going to be in here? Micah Potter. I mean, he's doesn't he kind of have to start Kessler at 4,600? Aren't they going to just go Kessler, Collins, Markkanen, Clarkson off the bench, right? Sexton and Keontae George, and there you go. I don't know how Kessler doesn't get there. I don't get it, but I guess we'll see. And interestingly, in my sheets, I don't even have it. I don't know what's going on here. I have him at 2% ownership and 5x. That's got to be ridiculous, right? Oh, because this was at 10:40 this morning. Okay. All right, there you go. Walker Kessler, he starts, he's going to be 75%. I imagine. Hope not. Hope nobody watches the show. I'm sure he's got to be talked about everywhere. It's way too obvious. But we'll see. So it is actually kind of dumb to run a sim, right? Because we need Knicks news and we need an updated projection in Utah. But yeah, actually, you know what? It's actually not a bad idea to run a sim. That's right, right, Power? Oh, you think Dunn would start over Keontae George? You could be right. So the only reason I'm doing this is to get the contest sim stuff in here because that's the hockey. We'll upload these just so we have something. And this is not going to get me Kessler, but Malachi Flynn is out. Okay. Fair enough. You want to give him a projection? Let's give him a projection just for funsies. Let's give him what are we doing, 30? I mean, whatever it is going to be in every lineup. All right, let's just go 30. I will build 50 lineups here. Ooh, then we get the golf guys coming soon. I mean, the better players. You have Scheffler a little later, I think, and Thomas. I don't have a single share of Justin Thomas, so I'm going to lose. But we shall see. Look at this. Saberson is getting a little testy here. And George, Keontae George to run the second team. Yeah, seems reasonable. Yeah, I know that Saberson changed their UI. Oh, you think so, Power? Caruso, DeRozan, and Drummond? Okay. So I presume we're getting 100% Kessler here? Yeah. And 90% Keontae George, which is fine. Let's just save these into my lineup so I have them. So I can just save these contest sim info. May as well run the sims as well, just to show you guys how to do it. You see either Caruso or DeRozan and Drummond on today too. Okay. So needless to say, you know, we're gonna watch the trade news. I'll be live at 6. 6 to 7, I guess. Maybe a little later actually. Mr. Sheets is going out for dinner tonight, so I'm gonna probably be able to be at the computer a little longer. Maybe to get up to the Chicago game is going to be interesting then. So if in fact the Bulls might lose those guys, you probably do want to hang around as late as possible to make those changes. Let's see what this looks like. All right, so sims have been run. See what it looks like for the fadeaway, just for the hell of it. Yeah, Kessler, George, Miles McBride, all the guys that we mentioned. Let's just save all these in here, so I have something. And then we're probably good to go. So I'm going to do something. I'm either going to do a hockey or the MMA or both before the day's out. Mavs in talks to acquire Gafford. All right. And worst case, I will be there at 6 this evening to go through everything. Good luck.